Hi everyone! In this video I will share the process of designing graphic design posters, art version. So this means designing graphic design posters that include artwork, specifically my own. Since I make a lot of art in my free time, I had a lot of art and didn't really use it, so I decided to just combine art and design together and make posters out of them. So first of all, the app that I used to make the artworks that you will see in this video was Procreate. I'm sure that most of you actually know this program. Anyway, let's get started with making the artworks first. I will show you some quick snippets of the drawing process. It's too long to record everything, but it's nice to see a little bit behind the scenes, I think. As you might be able to tell from the artworks that you see later, I enjoy drawing people a lot and also the sky. I had a whole phase where I only drew clouds, but that kind of stopped because it was so time consuming and I didn't have that much time. So I started drawing people more again. Clouds are so nice, they look fluffy and fun. And they're very complex actually to draw, which kind of makes it fun as well. This artwork is actually from a movie called Chungking Express. I think I pronounced that right, but I'm not sure. It's one of my favorite movies. Oh yeah, and Uncommon is the name of my art account on Instagram. In case you're curious, you might see it more often in this video, but that's where these artworks are from. They are all mine, but that's my art account. Alright, I now have these artworks to work with, so let's turn them into posters. As you know, the first thing we do is using a grid. You can find the grids I use as a template and some additional info through the link in the description. I start by placing my grid and locking the layer as I always do, and opening a new layer on top of that. Working with several visuals is always a bit challenging for a minimalist like myself, so I decided to crop the individual drawings a bit so that they fit nicely within the rows and columns of the grid. It's a way for me to still keep it simple and minimal while organizing the images in a nice way. And then the eyes being like the focal point of the poster. The text that I thought fit this poster really well was "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." I really like this saying, and it fits with the idea because this guy is a photographer. I also like to add some small distinctive features that are kind of part of my branding for this year. I use them in most of my posters. I think it's nice that you have a recognizing point in every poster. It's kind of like a watermark. And then I also add some text in Chinese that says, there are stars in your eyes. And then I also add the color code actually for the blue at the top to have a bit of mouse type. In the end, I will show all the posters properly. So now on to the next poster. I wanted to keep this one even simpler so that all the attention is drawn to the illustration, because I spent a lot of time on it and I think it looks quite realistic. It doesn't need that much extra. So as you may know, this illustration is a scene from Chungking Express that I mentioned earlier. So I add this movie title to the poster in the color of the sky. Also changing the tracking a little bit to put the letters closer together. I think it's a very nice sort of artsy effect. And I just align it to the grid properly. The grid is amazing. And I add a bit more text details that have to do with the film, so that it's recorded in Hong Kong in 1995. And I really like this sort of rounded, friendly looking Chinese font. And then of course I also add some of my branding to it. So this poster is very nice and simple. Just by dividing the space into 2 large sections, you keep it super simple but still very orderly, and otherwise it would be too busy because it's such a detailed illustration. And you contrast that with very minimal poster design. I think that makes it work really well. If you have busy poster design with also very detailed and busy illustration, it really draws the attention away from the illustration that you spend so much time on. So that's really the focus for me for these illustration posters, is that the poster itself is really focusing on the illustration because it took so much time and I poured my art soul into it. I had a lot of thoughts while making them, and I feel that these need to be communicated in the poster as well. So that's why I focus especially on a very minimal approach here. And then this is the last poster that I will show. It has a lot of details again. I like details, and then contrasting them with minimalism. I was inspired by manga for the layout that I used for this poster, so I decided to cut up the illustration into 2 sections, one that focused on the guy and one that focused on the girl, so we have both properly shown in the poster. Also, they're demon slayers, so that's why they look like that, with like scars and everything. I have a wild imagination when I draw, so you probably learn a bit more about that in this video. So anyway, I put also a border around them and I add some text which says Demon Slayer. And add my branding as well. And I think splitting the illustration gives it a lot more expressive feeling to each character. And I think it helps them stand out more and also creates a bit more of a dramatic effect in the poster. Here are the results of the posters I just created. And for me, the purpose of this video was really to show that design doesn't have to be limited to one thing. I've heard that quite a lot of designers think that you have to only make one type of design or one type of posters. But I would like to encourage people to really explore their passions and interests in their poster or graphic design work. I think that makes your work so much more unique and really represents who you are. So whether you're a 3D artist or an illustrator or a motion designer, I would like to challenge you to try and incorporate that in your design somehow and see how it will transform and become like really your own unique design. So I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know if you have any other ideas for videos. I would love to keep your input for future content planning.